Any Browns fans out there looking for just a little bit more evidence of their team killing it in this year's draft, you're going to love today's episode because I stumbled across an ESPN article from Field Yates where he ranked his 10 favorite rookies that were not taken in round one. And surprise, surprise, the Browns were on that list more than once. But as a quick refresher, here's what Cleveland did in the draft, trading back in round one, selecting Mason Graham. But again, this is all about the guys going rounds 2 through 7, where Cleveland found Carson Schwesinger to kick off day 2 of the draft, followed by Quinshon Judkins, Harold Fannin, a couple of skilled position guys, then 2 quarterbacks and a running back to round out rounds 3 through 5. So that's the Browns draft class. Now let's talk about the impact players that Field Yates identified in rounds 2 through 7, starting with the offense, where he ranked him 1 through 10. And coming in at number 4, he's got the Cleveland Browns' new starting running back, Quinshon Judkins, out of Ohio State. And it's always good to see some of the big blue checkmark media members gassing up your team after the draft. You're lying to yourself if when you read those articles, when you listen to those podcasts, and they talk about your team, it does not make you tingle a little bit on the inside. And so when you see the Browns running back come in the top 5 for impact players not taken in round 1, yeah, it's going to make you feel a little bit extra good inside about what Cleveland did at the end of April. We're going to look at the defensive side next, where they've got Carson Schwesinger coming in all the way at number 1. Now, there's 2 ways you can look at this. One, that's awesome. That's terrific. That's the way I choose to look at it. The other way is, well, no duh. He was the first pick of round 2. He should probably be the best impact player taken in rounds 2 through 7, given that he was the first one taken in rounds 2 through 7. But I still was, at the time, a little caught off guard regarding the Schwesinger pick. But the more I read, the more I watch about him, the more I fall in love with the selection. And the Browns were the only team to have guys in the top 5 of Field Yates' most impactful rookies in rounds 2 through 7 for offense and defense. Them and the Bengals were the only teams that had someone on offense and defense. So let's talk about these 2 guys. Let's start with the player that I feel like is not getting a ton of airtime, and that is the linebacker from UCLA, Schwesinger. He's 6'2", 242 pounds. I'm not going to say he's this team's next JOK, because JOK coming out of Notre Dame was a superb athlete who only fell out of round 1 because people had concerns about his size and the possibility of getting dinged up a lot, and those people would be correct right now with all the injuries JOK has suffered. But Schwesinger has been an incredible prospect leading into the draft when it comes to a versatile linebacker, a tackling machine, led the Big Ten in tackles last year, and I want to throw up just saying a UCLA linebacker led the Big Ten in tackles. But he generated some pressure to go along with it on the quarterback. He was a playmaker. He picked off Dylan Gabriel during rookie minicamp. Schwesinger is a pick that, at first, I think we all were a little bit surprised by. There had not been a lot of traction about the Browns going linebacker at pick 33. We all expected that to be a quarterback. Instead, they throws for a loop, but a good surprise in a loop. And also, I think a good reason as to why Schwesinger could be one of the most impactful day 2, day 3 rookies. He's got a great opportunity to go out there and see a lot of snaps and minutes. Unfortunately, it comes at the price of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah being placed on the PUP list before training camp, resulting him missing all of 2025. But there are some big shoes to fill when it comes to snaps and production that JOK is leaving on the table. Let's start with the snaps here. Last year, he played 92% of the snaps in games he was active for. If he did not get injured against the Ravens, it'd be close to like 93, 94%. He hardly ever came off the field. So if you're Jim Schwartz, right, you're thinking about the 11 starters you have out there, and you got to find a way to fill the void of someone who played 92% of your snaps. A great step in that, process is adding a linebacker at pick 33 in Carson Schwesinger. I don't expect the Browns to trot out 3 linebackers very often. Maybe at 3rd and 2 situations, maybe in the goal line a little bit, but their base defense is going to be a nickel type defense with an extra safety on the field, an extra slot corner, something to that effect, and only 2 linebackers on the field. Because I was curious, how often did Cleveland actually play all 3 linebackers in a game? And so I looked back at the first 5 weeks when people were still relatively healthy. And you can see the top 3 linebackers for the Browns by snap percentage each week. Week 1, the number 1 guy was JOK, he played 100% of the snaps. Number 2, you got Jordan Hicks at 71%. And then you can see the dramatic drop-off for this percentage of snaps the third linebacker got in the first 5 weeks of the season. This is no longer our traditional 4-3 defense where you constantly have 3 linebackers on the field. That era of football is not dying, it's dead. And so when you only have 2 linebackers out there, you got to have 2 guys who can do a lot of jobs. 2 guys who can multitask. When you had 3, you had one that could maybe stop the run, one who could blitz, one who could be better in coverage. When you're down to 2, they got to pick up the slack a little bit. And Schwesinger is going to replace JOK in that role, and he's got to pick up the slack. On top of filling the void of a guy who played over 90% of defensive snaps a year ago. So I am excited for Schwesinger, but he's got a lot on his plate as a rookie. Before we look at Quinshon Judkins, I was looking at the YouTube analytics for the month of May, and shout out to everyone who consistently likes our videos. We have, less than 20 more likes than the Ravens rundown here at Chat Sports so far this month. So if you have not yet, scroll on down, do me a big favor, and click that thumbs up button if you hate the Ravens. Now let's talk about Judkins, because he was also in the top 5 for most impactful rookies this year, taken in days 2 or 3 of the draft by Field Yates. And I feel like we can never get tired of talking about hopefully this team's new bell cow back moving forward. Here's what Yates said. Judkins was excellent at both stops in his college career. He showed that he can dominate between the tackles at Ohio State, but he also proved that he can be a do-it-all back who even impacts the passing game at Ole Miss. Judkins is a decisive, physical runner who should fit perfectly in the AFC North. It's that last sentence to me that gives me goosebumps, because there are some divisions that I feel like teams need to build their roster around knowing the division they play in. The AFC North is one of those divisions. You have to be tough and physical at the line of scrimmage. You play in the NFC West, the Cardinals, those West Coast teams. You can get away with maybe not being the toughest team out there. You play Pittsburgh, Baltimore in December, you better have some guys who are ready to punch people in the mouth and also know how to take a punch. And Judkins, I think, can fill like a glove that role so well in this division. Plus, I'll never get past one of the scouts saying, when talking about Judkins, you got to look at what he did at Ole Miss, because that's the guy I think you're getting more likely than the guy you got at Ohio State. And the guy you got at Ohio State was awesome last year. He averaged nearly an extra yard and a carry compared to his last year at Ole Miss. He had 1 more touchdown, 2 more touchdowns. But sure, the yardage and the carries are down, but that's only because he was in a split backfield with a running back who was selected 2 spots later by the New England Patriots. I think when we're looking at, if you put Judkins' 2024 stats at 2022 and just bumped 2022 and 2023 up by a year, he would have been a no-doubter first-rounder, in my opinion. I think by year 2 of his career, he's going to be a Pro Bowl running back. This offensive line is hopefully going to be healthy this year, but if not, they've already started to plant some, replacement seeds with guys like Tevin Jenkins and Zach Zinter on the interior, and then they can go after a tackle in next year's draft if they move on from Jack Conklin or if DeJuan Jones is not working out at left tackle. But I think Judkins is going to be a Pro Bowl running back sooner rather than later, and I am so excited for this pick. This, to me, is a pick that, going into the draft, He was not towards the top of my radar of running backs. I was super high on Kaleb Johnson. But once they picked Judkins, it did not take long for me to go, this is the right pick. All right, before we get on out of here, if you want to get a Judkins jersey, number 10, by the way, for a running back box. That's an awesome jersey to have. A Shedeur Sanders jersey or a Mason Graham jersey. I think if you get the Graham jersey, it comes with a little bit of throw up on it too. So go to chatsports.com/CLE rookies. It's a great way to support the channel while also getting a rookie jersey in your mailbox. Chatsports.com/CLE rookies. One last thing I want to add to the Judkins thing. I just thought you guys might get a good kick out of some historical numbers and facts here. So, Judkins was the third running back taken in this draft. He was one of 6 taken in the first 2 days. So how does that stack up compared to previous years? Last year, only 4 running backs went in rounds 1 through 3, a notorious weak running back draft class. In 2023, I was surprised there were 7 that went. Few more in round 3 than the guys who went in rounds 1 and 2 of 2025. But 6 is above average, I think we can all agree, over the last 5-year sample size. Now, as for what to expect out of Judkins in his rookie season, Nick Chubb, our sweet prince, holds the Browns rookie rushing record at 996 yards. I'll forever hate Hugh Jackson for not getting him 4 more yards so we can have 4 or 5 straight years of 1,000-yard seasons. And it's not Najee Harris and that stupid stat of one of the only running backs to have 1,000 yards in his first 4 years when he barely got to 1,000 in all 4 years, and he wasn't even the best running back on his team. And I can't believe I still talk about him even though he's not even in the same division anymore. The guy was signed by the Chargers, and then they immediately drafted a replacement, and they hadn't even seen Harris take a snap yet. That's how much they regretted the decision to sign him. All right. If I ever see Najee in person, if I ever see him in an airport, he's going to bitch slap me. And I'll have it coming for me. I can't even be mad at him for it. I will not press charges, Najee. Okay. As for Judkins, let's not get too excited about what to expect out of him this year, though. Here are the 5 leading rookie rushing records. Eric Dickerson, 1,800 yards for the Rams back in '83. George Rogers, some of these guys were well before I was born, of course. Zeke for the Cowboys. Alfred Morris. What a random running back to be 4th as a rookie. And then Otis Anderson back in 1979. Now, some of these guys like Zeke were taken in round 1. So how about guys taken in rounds 2 through 7? Here are their, rookie rushing numbers. Alfred Morris yet again, 6th-round pick. Clinton Portis with the Broncos before he was traded to Washington for Champ Bailey. And then you got Mike Anderson. How about the Broncos? Finding 2 great rookies in, such a short time period. But, yeah, that just gives you a better idea of, okay, well, Judkins wasn't a first-round pick, so it's not really fair to compare him to what other first-round picks did. Here's what some rounds 2 through 7 guys did in their rookie season. My prediction for him is, I think with Ford and Sampson, he's just not going to get enough carries to really push for one of those records. So, how about 200 carries for 950 yards and 6 touchdowns? That comes out to a little over around 4.5 yards a carry. I think we can all get behind that. I think in year 1, they're probably going to want to balance the workload out a little bit. Plus, in college, Judkins had nearly 800 career carries. So they may not want to put too much, tread on his tires in his first year in the NFL. So with Ford and Sampson there, they might spread the workload out a little bit, only giving Judkins 200 carries. So I'll put the over-under number at 1,000. Can he become the first Browns rookie to ever rush for 1,000 yards? Give me an O for over or a U for under down in the comment section. Let's pick a card to wrap up today's episode. Reed, which card are you thinking?
Let me go, not that one, but Ace of Hearts.
I'm going to say 2 of Spades. What'd you say? Ace of Hearts.
Come on, man. Let's go.
Ace of Hearts.
Let's go.
It's a big win for Reed. Damn. I was all by myself. Fuck. All right. Damn it. I only had like a 2-week run of being the undisputed champ. All right. I'm next.